Good evening. This is the Perrysburg Special Council meeting. I'm Tom Mackin, the mayor of Perrysburg. Because we're going to say our names occasionally when we talk, so people who are listening in will know who's talking. Let's begin with the roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Here.
Mr. Coolman.
Here.
Ms. Materney.
Here.
Mr. McCarthy. Here. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Here.
Thank you.
If you're able, please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This is a special meeting, so I will now turn it over to President of Council, Jonathan Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Jonathan Smith. One thing, as we start, I'm going to go through a few things. Just as a couple of reminders for tonight meeting for all of us up here as well as those who will be coming to speak. Before you speak, if you could, please make sure that you state your name for those who are listening. That includes all of us up here. With those listening out in the hallway or those listening over the phone. This is going to be the best way so that way they know who is speaking. And I also like to make sure that we are speaking directly into the microphones. Last week I received a couple complaints that there were some individuals that were having some hard time hearing. So just as a reminder to make certain that we are speaking directly into the microphones. Before I begin with the process, I did want to make sure that I read off the qualifications per our city charter as to the member of council and what their qualifications can be. So a member of council shall have been continuously a resident and elector of the municipality for 2 years prior to the date of his or her election or appointment, or who has been for 2 years prior to his or her election or appointment a resident and elector of territory which at the time of the election or appointment has been annexed to the municipality. Each such member of council shall continue to be a resident and elector throughout his or her term on office. No member of council shall hold any other elective public office or any other municipal office or employment. No member of council shall be interested either directly or indirectly in the profits or emoluments of any contract, job, work, or service for which monies of the municipalities are expended. And council shall be the final judge of the election and qualifications of its members consistent with the above requirements. And that is section of our charter. So for the process and how we will actually be handling this tonight, we will be calling up candidates in alphabetical order by last name. Each candidate will be given a firm 3 minutes to speak about yourself. We do have a timer up here. You'll hear a little ding when it goes off. Dave here on my right will hold up a sign when you have 1 minute left, and then another sign when your 3 minutes are up. If that does go over, we got the, just to remind everyone as well. Get Van over here. After the candidates have spoken, we will open up the floor to all the council members to ask that candidate any question that they may have. I just would like to also remind everyone, please be conscious and respectful to each other's time, as we do have quite a few applicants, which is a great thing for our community to have so many people that want to step up and help our community continue to thrive. But we want to make certain that each applicant receives a very similar and fair and equitable amount of time to speak. After all candidates have spoken, we will move into an executive session. No one will actually have to leave the council chambers. We'll most likely have that down in the basement to discuss the appointment of the council vacancy. Once we are through with that executive session, we will come up here and possibly begin the process of nominating applicants or have that further discussion on if we're going to do that tonight or not. My hope is that we do. Just with all of you here, it would be better to get it done with everyone here versus trying to huddle everyone back in here to see that. With that being said, we will start the process here unless there's any.
Did you get an email? Corey Coolman talking. I had one of the candidates did submit their withdrawal. I didn't know if he sent it to anybody else. Did it have Aaron?
I did not receive that. That's the only person I was not able to speak to.
Okay, so I spoke with him today. I believe he is accepting some sort of job that would prevent him from serving due to the Hatch Act. So he asked me to withdraw his name from further consideration. So we appreciate his application, but he has withdrawn his name, so that will be one less candidate tonight.
Okay. And I know that I did receive, just as an update as well, I received a phone call from Rob Vila, who also has his name in, who unfortunately will not be able to be in attendance. He may be sending an email to us. I haven't received it yet. Unfortunately, there's a medical emergency that he had to attend to. And I know we all received an email from Ann Izzy as well, I believe, who is not going to be here as well. She sent that over this afternoon. And Jeff Kearns, who I spoke with over the weekend, has sent an email that I forwarded to all of you. Hopefully you all received that. That he will not be able to make it tonight, and it was just basically what he would be reading up here tonight as well. So with that being said, I'm going to jump into our first applicant here, and Patrick Cassidy, if you don't mind stepping up, and once we get you started, we'll get the timer going. And
I'll set my timer at the same time you guys do.
all right, so whenever you're ready, Mr. Cassidy.
So good evening. My name is Pat Cassidy. I've been a 25-year resident of Perrysburg. My wife Jan and I raised 2 kids here. Our oldest son, Steve, is 28, and he's been teaching in Houston for 6 years, high school English. And our youngest son, Tom, just graduated from BG with his bachelor degree and went to work immediately on his master's. So that's a little bit about me and my family. I had phone calls with both Jonathan and Corey, and I thought their questions really centered in 3 main themes. So I'm just going to address those themes with the council and everyone here tonight. I think the first question, or first theme of questions, was really around why do I have an interest in this open council seat? And pretty simple answer. Having been a resident here 25 years, I'm proud to call Perrysburg my home. It's been a wonderful place to raise a family, and I feel that I have skills that would help continue to maintain Perrysburg in the standing that it is. While I've been here, we've seen a lot of challenges and a lot of growth in the town. And I think my background lends itself towards helping guide through what those future challenges are. I also want to be very clear with the folks here. I've known people that were on the council or have been in the administration here in town, and I have no political aspirations, so I don't see this as a stepping stone into some other role. I'm really just about serving the needs of the people of the city of Perrysburg. The second theme of questions was really around what do I bring? And I think all of you have a copy of my professional resume. I have a track record of delivering results and developing people, and I think that translates very well here. Third theme of questions was really specifically around, okay, you've been in Perrysburg a long time, why now? Thanks, Dave. And I would say right now, I think timing makes sense. So I just retired, knock on wood, in October. And during the time I've been here in Perrysburg, been very involved in youth sports, baseball, basketball coach, ran a basketball league in the Toledo area for 11 years. Was an executive church council member, oversaw the building addition at our church. So very familiar with leadership and being around organizations that need help and want to grow. And then, just as I think many of you can attest, young family, kids, raising kids, making sure kids are in a good place to go on with their lives. So that's my sub 3-minute spiel to the group.
I have about 2 seconds.
You get 1 second left on this.
How about that? Well rehearsed. Questions?
Is there any questions from any of the council members? This is Jonathan Smith.
Yes, President Smith. Go ahead. Jan. This question I'm going to ask of all of the council. 2 questions. First one I have is I'm going to ask of all of the city council candidates. Okay. Have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
Not completely, no.
Thank you. And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
Supporting the needs of the people of the city of Perrysburg.
Thank you, Mr. Cassidy.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bourne. Councilman Coolman, you have a question?
I have nothing. I talked to him twice. Myself, I was making second phone calls to certain people today.
No problem. Councilwoman Matroni.
Are you aware of what committee you'll be serving on?
No, I'm not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilman McCarthy or Van Huzen? Nothing? The only question that I'll, and this is Councilman Smith, is your intent to run and hold the position if you were selected?
That would be the plan, yes.
Okay.
I think you asked me that on the
And
phone.
I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
for everyone else's benefit.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cassidy. We appreciate you coming out and stick around and see how things go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, our next candidate is Michael Creech. Mr. Creech.
Hello, I am Michael Creech. I have lived here in Perrysburg for a little over 10 years now. Have loved it. I started out renting an apartment and then bought my first home there, and currently looking for my second home, which is always fun in the Perrysburg market. I have a wife and a child and one on the way, wife Nicole, little daughter Amelia. We absolutely love it here, love the city. I look forward to raising my kids here and hopefully one day retiring here. I grew up in the Toledo area. I went to Toledo Christian High School, went to the University of Toledo, double majored in finance and business management. From there, I worked at a sheet metal shop. I run a sheet metal shop. So I feel like that gives me a fairly well-rounded aspect of many things, whether it goes to HR or handling customers or dealing with employees. And so I feel like as a small business, we're a very small business, only 6 employees. So I wear many hats on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, part of it, why now, why, I feel like I've always had an interest in city government, and I felt like I talked to my wife, and when the opportunity presented itself, she basically said, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so why not go for it? I honestly don't have any big issues as far as with Perrysburg. I'm running, you know, to change or anything like that. We love the city. I'm open to listening to the community and getting feedback about different things. I feel like I'm a good communicator, a good team member, someone easy to work with. I just really look forward to helping out in any way, whether it be here or some kind of committee seat or something like that in the future if this didn't work out. So thank you for your consideration, and any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Creech. And as we continue the same line, we'll just go down the line. So Councilwoman Bourne.
Thank you so much, President Smith. This is Councilwoman Deborah Warren, and I have a question I would like to ask you, which is pretty much what I asked Mr. Cassidy prior to you. Have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
I have not, no.
Okay. Thank you. And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
I feel like the city council person's role is to listen to the community and people around them and try to improve upon the city as it is.
Thank you so much, Mr. Creech.
Councilman Coolman.
I got nothing. We already talked. I appreciate the time you gave me.
Yep.
Councilwoman Attorney.
I'm going to ask the same question every time, too. Are you aware of what committees?
I am not, no.
Okay. What is your experience with budgeting and finance, particular when it pertains to government?
Particular to government, none.
Councilman Van Dusen or McCarthy. Good. Mr. Creech, just as I've asked as well, and I know I've asked this to everyone who I spoke with, if you were selected, would you intend to run to hold the seat?
Yes, that'd be the intent.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. I appreciate your time and willingness to put your name in.
Thank you.
All right, with that, the next applicant is Gerald Davis. Mr. Davis, he might be out in the, he is out in the atrium, so hopefully they can hear out there and come in. If not, we'll send our law director out to go grab him. Okay. He's on his way. There we go. Gives us time to get our notes in order.
If anybody wants to wipe off the, I was like the guy at the inaugural King and Queen speeches and wipe stuff off. My wife was there for me once.
Okay.
Since I was the last to touch everything.
While he's doing that, Mr. Mayor, I think that for those who are not currently on any committees with the city, I think we have several potential.
I appreciate that and was already working on that.
Perfect. Mr. Davis, feel free to come up.
Evening, everyone. My name is Jerry Davis. I have obviously applied to be a member of City Council here and tell you a little bit about myself. I've lived in Perrysburg for in excess of 20 years. I've watched a good deal of growth occur throughout the community, and what I felt is I would like to elevate my status a little bit more and become from citizen to a contributing member of the government. And so I saw this as an opportunity for me to serve at a little bit different level and experience government at a little bit different level. I'm a full-time teacher at Ottawa Hills Public Schools. I teach computer science there. I've taught there for the last 7 years. Before that, I taught at Bowling Green State University. Before that, I was at Maumee Valley Country Day, and then I started my academic life at the University of Toledo. Over the years, I've lived in both Ottawa Hills and in Perrysburg, and I've experienced small-town life and the advantages that come with it. And so as a consequence of that, I think we're at kind of a unique space, because what really sort of brought me to this, this decisive process of, do I want to be a member of City Council is when I saw that we were looking at the land use plan for the community, and I thought, from when I've moved here to where we are now, we are probably at the point where we're beginning to fill our footprint. And one of the things that sort of struck me when I looked at the piece there was that we want to define ourselves as a community, and part of that is our brand and what we represent. And for me, being a brisk walk away from here, part of Perrysburg is, of course, the Central Business District that we all enjoy and have farmers markets in, and not wanting it to become simply an entertainment district, but a place where small businesses can thrive, and having a nice balanced community. And so I thought, if I can weigh in those conversations, that's something that I would like to do. Over the years, since I've been here, I've experienced, like I say, I've lived here 20 years of positive growth. 20 years of positive growth, and as we grow larger and larger and larger, largely because of the success of our school district and our central business district, I would like that positive growth to continue, and as we foster spaces around us, so the traffic flow is one of my particular issues. I live on 2nd Street, and it's kind of a drag strip. And in conversations, I think it was either with Jonathan or Corey, I can't remember, or maybe it was, Jan, mentioned turning off at 25 onto 2nd, and I thought, these are the kinds of conversations where I like to get involved. For me, it's more about the mundane day-to-day issues of living in a small town and facilitating life. It's not the broad philosophical questions I'm looking at. I'm looking at, the simpler things in life that make life better. And so that's my overarching reason for wanting to be here. If you have any questions for me, I'm obviously here.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Councilwoman.
Thank you so much, President Smith. This is Councilwoman Deborah Bourne, and have you read the Charter of the City of Perrysburg?
Interesting question, because I started it as you asked the question of the other two candidates, but I couldn't manage to finish it. There weren't quite enough letters between me and them, but had I had the time, I would have, yes.
Thank you. And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so, years back, I went through a program, it's called Servant Leadership. And, as a citizen, I think I mischaracterized my reason for wanting to be here, because, when I said elevated, my view of a city councilman really is I'm of service to the citizenry, here. And so to give voice to their concerns, as I hear them. And, one of the things that I've always sort of prided myself on is that as a person who's rather good at balancing interests, and, my principal, who I, of course, put as one of my references, when asked for counsel, I kind of see myself as an ombudsman, in these things. And otherwise, I guess if I were to look at an archetype, I see myself as a boatman of trying to bring just disparate ideas together, positive spaces and negative spaces, and trying to get them to match up. It's life's a negotiation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davis.
Thanks for the question.
You don't have to stop at me for questions. I've talked to.
Ms. Materni,
Appreciate the conversation.
No, I'm good.
Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Van Duzen. Mr. Davis, the one question that I ask him, we'll just ask again, is do you plan to run and hold the seat if you were to be selected?
Yeah, you've asked me that question. You asked me that question the other day, and so I've given it some thought and discussed it with my wife. And I would say that I'm closer to that position than what I was before. I hadn't really thought of it as a political thing as much as I thought of it as service to a community. And so consequently, that just didn't enter into my mindset. But, as things advance, and I understand that the window's, closing rather quickly, but, I've made quick decisions before in my life, so.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I appreciate you taking the time to put your name in.
All right, thank you very much for hearing me out. And everyone have a great day.
Thank you. And then the next individual we have is Mr. Decker. Dustin Decker, do you mind? Just a reminder, make certain that you are speaking in the microphone. I know it's a little low for you there, Dustin, but...
Move it up here a little bit.
Perfect.
All right. Well, most of you know me. I'm Dustin Decker. I live at 12865 Five Point Road, Lot 62 here in Perrysburg. I am a former candidate for Perrysburg City Council 2019. I achieved 3,437 votes back then, which I thought was pretty good for my first campaign ever. I recently graduated from Stotzenberger College with a business diploma, and I work full-time for Wood County. If appointed to fill this vacancy, I'll be hardworking and as transparent as possible. My ultimate goal is to work with other members of council and to continue to achieve the greatness that Perrysburg is known for. This is a great community to live in, and to be able to serve on this governing body, helping create a better future for generations to come, would be an honor. Like I mentioned, I ran for city council. I achieved 3,437 votes from the electors of Perrysburg. And I fell just behind in 5th place behind Councilwoman Materni by 78 votes. According to certified election results, that's not a win. But it is a large show of support by the citizens of Perrysburg. And for this vacancy, I ask that you stand with those constituents and appoint me for the remainder of this term. I have no desire at this time to make an actual career out of politics, but I do have great desire to serve and give back. I believe God calls certain people to be public servants, and when it's their time to shine, He'll open up a window of opportunity. I may not always have the right answers, I may not always have the perfect solution to every problem, but with a little research and a lot of teamwork together, we can all make a difference. I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I'm grateful for the several qualified candidates that we have here tonight, having applied for the vacancy. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Decker. Councilwoman Warren.
Thank you so much, President Smith. This is Councilwoman Deborah Warren. And I have a couple of questions for you as well.
Absolutely.
Same questions I've asked before. Have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
Back when I ran for council in 2019, I did read into quite a bit of it, yes.
Thank you. And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
I believe the role of a city council person is to listen and learn to the concerns of the constituents and bring it back to council meetings to implement those, to implement the changes necessary.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have no questions. Thanks for the conversation.
Absolutely. Yep.
Ms. Materni.
This is Councilwoman Attorney. Do you know what committees you will be serving on?
I believe it was the Finance Committee and the Safety Committee.
No, just sure if you're
That's kind of like a voting question.
Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Van Duzen. Any questions? Mr. Decker, as I asked everyone else, do you plan to run this November?
As of today, yes, I do.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Decker, and we appreciate you putting your name in. I got to get up my next right screen here. Mr. Fuller.
Thank you, President Councilman Smith, City Council members. I really appreciate the opportunity being able to express to you my desire to help fill this vacant seat. My name is Kevin Fuller. I am 39 years old. I am happily married to my wife, Christina. I am a father of 3 and stepfather of 2. We moved to the city of Perrysburg roughly 7 years ago. And given, I think, the safety of the city, the wonderful downtown area, location on the river, and also my personal favorite, the history of our city, I feel that I can bring a empathetic and energetic role of a father, but also to the broad dynamic that makes up the citizenship of our city. So the reason I put in my application was that I feel like I have the time allocated and able to make that commitment at this time. I also have the support of my family, which was number one to me before moving forward. I just want to make a few parallels to my vocation and some of my experience I believe may be of value to some of the committees. I currently serve as a business representative to the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Regional Council of Carpenters and have the opportunity to represent nearly 3,000 tradespeople in Northwest Ohio, and on occasion around 35,000 members in our 3-state council. So in regards to the Finance Committee, I do serve as a trustee to Local 351 and am tasked with annually helping to develop a budget and also work with a team to see that that budget is met throughout the year. In addition to that, I also have to make sure that those monies are sent and received responsibly. That is the role of the trustee. So I believe I may be an asset to that committee. In regards to personnel, I did spend time, although it was just the field of construction, but I did spend time in management overseeing employees, and I also have a vast knowledge of collective bargaining as well. As far as the safety committee goes, I feel that I hold our fire and police to high esteem, and I know safety is different for everyone, but I look forward to keeping a sympathetic and attentive ear, willing to lead and collaborate and bring people together to hopefully benefit that committee to the best of my ability. If I do have the opportunity and found in favor of all of you, I look forward to serving with all of you and working with the mayor and the administrative staff to ensuring a stable future for our citizens. I will give you my word that I will serve with zeal and an unceasing effort for the welfare of our city. Thank you.
Mr. Fuller.
Hi, Mr. Fuller.
Ms. Bourne?
This is Councilwoman Deborah Bourne. Have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
I have, yes. I read it. I can't recite much of it from memory, but I did apply for the Charter Review Committee, 3 years ago now, I believe. So I did get into it then, and I know a little bit of it now, yes.
Thank you. The next question I have is, what is your view of the role of a city council person?
I think the main role is to keep that ear out, to advocate on behalf of the citizens, and not just an elite few or the voters, but every citizen, from the youngest to the oldest.
Councilwoman Moore.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have no, Councilman Coolman, I have no questions. Thanks for the conversation the other day, Kevin.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Attorney.
He answered all my questions the other day, too.
Councilman McCarthy or Van Dusen. And Mr. Fuller, as I've asked everyone, are you planning to run if you were selected to the seat?
Yes, I do, and if I just make a brief statement to that regard. I know in the past that has been seen as maybe a distraction or maybe an endorsement for a yes vote from you all, but I do believe I couldn't look any constituent in the eye in November and tell them that I didn't have time in January, but now I've got time now. So as a long-term commitment, that's something I'm looking forward to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller, for your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. I know Ms. Izzy's not here. Mr. Kearns isn't here. Ms. Luce. Virginia. Thank you, Ms. Luce. We appreciate you being here and reporting your interview.
Well, I want to greet council this evening and to thank everyone on council for all of their work for the city of Perrysburg and its people. I want to acknowledge our Mayor Mackin and especially tell Jonathan Smith and Corey Kuhlman how much I enjoyed that they called and the conversations. They were very nice. And I'd like to also acknowledge Deborah Bourne. I'd like to acknowledge Jan Materney, Tim McCarthy, and Barry Van Hoosen. And thank you again for all your work. And for the participants here this evening, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for coming, for caring enough about Perrysburg, to show your support, to be a part of this process, and to help fill the vacancy. I want to thank you all very much for that. And I came for the same reason, and we are all alike, much more alike than different. If you look around, you can see some differences, but actually, as I looked up and read the backgrounds on everyone, including the ones that were in the newspaper of the participants this evening, one of the things that I picked out was that we were leaders. We were independent. We had a professional background. If not a professional background, we were a leader in a union. And we cared about people, and we brought businesses to them. And if not a business, it was a professional type of small business. Or the people might have worked for a municipality. But these are all people that really care. And there is variety, of course, because we are all different too. For instance, my strengths are seeing the big picture, seeing the long picture, communicating, mediating, problem solving, interviewing, gathering information. Those are the kinds of things that I do well. As far as my concern about the code of conduct and the idea of censure, which I read in the newspaper and which was passed by council, I would like to say this to everyone, and that is, that's okay. We can have a standard, but it's not the same as solving problems, because there are things that are need differences. These need to be expressed, not less communication, more communication. And so I would recommend that you broaden your approach or even use a somewhat different approach. Conflict is necessary. It's not bad. We need these expressions of difference. And then we can work things out. What we don't want is to have conflict and difference fester, go underground, and become pathological, and then blow everything up.
Please refrain.
So that we want to avoid. Changing subject, I would like to say that Perrysburg is a very young community. The mean age is only 37.
Your 3-minute time at this time?
Pardon?
We're over 3 minutes at this time? We're over 3 minutes. Your time is up for your speech.
Okay.
Councilwoman Bourne, do you have any questions?
Okay. Our central asset is...
We're past the 3 minutes.
Am I past the 3 minutes? Oh, okay. I'd like to just finish by saying I brought this book on Oliver Hazard Perry from the library, but you can get it online or you can get it through Amazon or BAM. And this is a wonderful book written by a BGSU professor. and lets you know a lot about Oliver Hazard Perry and why our city, which was then a settlement, was named after him.
Thank you.
This is a patriot.
We do have to stay on the time here, so I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Councilman Warren, do you have any questions?
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, President Smith. Ms. Lewis, have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that, Deborah.
What is your view of the role of a city council person?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
Okay, what is your view of the role of a city council person?
What do I see as the role of city
Yes.
council person? Basically, to communicate with people in the city. In fact, I would recommend that people actually go out
Ms. Luce, if
and
you
seek
can-
out more communication
You can
with the
speak in the
community.
microphone so we can hear.
And to, of course, listen to what problems might
Luce,
be expressed
can you speak in
to
the microphone? so
the council
everyone
and
can
so
hear you?
forth.
Can you speak in the?
listen to what council would, what problems that the community might bring forward, and then try to work on solutions, and, then pass whatever resolutions and so forth will address the problem. So it's basically a problem-solving function and a problem definition function.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Lewis, I have nothing to add. Corey Coleman, I have nothing to ask you. I
Okay.
appreciated our conversation earlier. Thank you for
Okay.
taking the time.
All set?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. McCarthy or Mr. Midley? All right, Ms. Lucen, just as
Okay.
I always asked is, if you're planning to run for council at this time, if you were selected, you would plan to run?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
If you were selected, would you plan to run for council?
Did I what?
If you were selected, would you plan to run for council?
Oh, no,
No.
I did not.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Ms. Luce. We appreciate your application. Next individual is Mr. Meyer, and he might be out in the hallway. All right, thank you. And just let the rest of the council know as well, Ms. Liliana Rosie received a phone call and had to leave, so she will not be speaking here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Appreciate you stopping in, and feel free to start when you're ready. We'll start our
Okay.
3-minute timer.
Thank you, and I will time myself. People ask why you want to do this. I said, why do you want a job that takes a lot of time and doesn't pay much? So, because we love Perrysburg. I mean, we've been here for, other than a short stint when Carrington Woods wasn't in the city, in the township, we've been here for 35 years. So we love Perrysburg, ultimately. So that's really the reason, and opportunity to serve the community. I've had a lot of very diverse experiences in my professional career, besides practicing medicine here in Perrysburg. I'm familiar with big budgets. Dealt with really big budgets in my role at Paramount. Literally tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of folks under my purview, so very familiar. Negotiated a $300 million pharmacy contract, as well as lots of other ones. So again, very familiar with budgets, and that asks personnel, dealt with a lot of personnel. Almost 100 physicians under my purview, handled their compensation and contracts, and you can imagine that was always a lot of fun. So again, a lot of experience with personnel. Certainly health benefits, as you'd expect in my role at Paramount, and the health insurance side. I do serve on the compensation committee at Souder Woodworking, which is in Archbold, as many of you know. From a safety perspective, I've had some thoughts about, I don't know a lot about police work, I will say that, but certainly understand the health side and the EMS side. Some thoughts about how we could maybe give some opportunities to EMS as it relates to the community and working with those who are shut-ins. I see some challenges for Perrysburg, not bad things, just reality. I said growth, growth, and growth. I think those are, we've certainly experienced that. I mean, it's the impact on service levels here, certainly in the community, but also the impact of the school system. And how can we work with the schools to not overburden them until the state makes some changes in financing? We know it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So, and how can we maintain the excellent parks and recreation, particularly as it relates to the waterfront and bike paths? This is a great opportunity we have here in the community to support those activities. The council's done a great job of funding that. I look out every day and see Riverside Park. Appreciate that in a huge way, obviously. But really, also besides that, is just continue our high levels of service and safety. It's been definitely a positive for Perrysburg, but also how do we be fiscally responsible? How do we go after every federal and state dollar we can get? And then how do we spend those very carefully? So again, my time's up.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. I appreciate you stopping in. Councilwoman Bourne.
Hello, Dr. Meyer. Same couple of questions I've been asking everyone else.
Okay.
The first one would be, have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
Not all of it, but I've read a lot of it, particularly as it related to the functions of council and the mayor's office and how that functions and the rule of order and how things proceed. So,
thank you. And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
well, council certainly is the legislative part of the government, and it really relates to providing supervision for those all 7 committees and leadership in those areas and assisting the mayor and the administrators in running the city.
Thank you.
Councilman Warren. Mr. Coleman.
I have no questions. We talked the other day. Thanks for the conversation.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Turner.
No,
No questions on that end. And Mr. Myers, I've asked everyone else if you were selected to fulfill this seat, would you plan to run and hold?
I plan to run, and my signature pages are full, so we're good to go.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
For your application. Next individual is Jessica Meyer.
Hi, Jessica Meyer. I just wanted to start by saying that I don't have an agenda. I'm not running because there's a particular problem with the city. I think the city is fabulous, and I think you guys have been doing a great job, and I hope that continues. I'd like to keep this going. I'm dedicated to the community and to public service. I have relevant work experience through my position with the Toledo Police Department. I've been with the department for 19 years, and I've been a lieutenant for 6 years. In that time, I've worked in operations, planning and research, and community services. In those roles, I've drafted policy, worked with teens on initiatives that increase the quality of life for residents, and worked as a liaison for various community groups. I am Perrysburg. I have children here, and I have 1 student in Perrysburg Public Schools. I live in a beautiful area with wonderful, friendly neighbors, and we just love the city. I consider myself lucky to live in Perrysburg, and I want Perrysburg to remain a wonderful place to live. I believe that Perrysburg is challenged to manage growth responsibly while wisely managing finances. I will work to do just that if I am appointed to council. I have a rich work history, affinity for the city, and I'm invested in Perrysburg. I would be honored to serve on Perrysburg City Council, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to meet with all of you tonight. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Meyer. Councilman Warren.
Thank you so much, President Smith. Hello, Ms. Meyer.
Hi.
Same questions I've been asking everyone else. Have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
I have, as it pertains to council.
Thank you. And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
I believe that city council members are here to advocate for the citizens and for the businesses within the city.
Thank you.
This is Councilman Coleman. I have no questions. Thank you for the conversation earlier. I appreciate it.
Councilwoman Turner.
This Councilwoman Attorney, do you know what committees you'd be replacing Jim Tuzak on?
No, I don't, but I understand from sitting here that public safety is one of them. No? Okay. Well, I misunderstood then, but I don't.
I'm not going to give you guys the answer.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
And Ms. Meyer, just as I asked when we spoke on the phone, is if you were selected, you would plan to run to hold the seat or not?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Meyer, for your time and your application.
Thank you.
I think I want to just quickly point out this time, I appreciate all the candidates keeping their masks on and staying socially distant when they speak, and I appreciate that very much, and we ask that everybody continue that as we go forward, but I do want to just make sure that everybody is, that their courtesy to others is appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Sawaya, if I'm pronouncing that correct?
No.
Okay.
Hello, it's Callie Sawaya. Nice to be here. Thank you so much. As a university student, a group of friends and I embarked on an evening of getting out of our comfort zone. We went to restaurants and ordered things we had never had before. We talked to strangers and watched a movie in a foreign language, and it was all good fun. And personal growth as well. So, me standing before you tonight is an example of comfort zone night, adult version. I've now been married for 23 years. I'm in the midst of raising 5 fantastic children. Soon it will be time for me to give back, and I'm pondering whether I might ultimately want to return to academic research or to public service. A couple of weeks ago, my husband set this up. He said, there is a 1-year appointed position available on the city council. You would be fantastic. So over the last few weeks, I've worked hard to determine what you might need from your council member and what I have to offer. Since this term covers a unique year, it follows that you might benefit from a unique candidate. Since the family is the most basic form of government, and this has been a year for all of us to focus on our home fronts, during this complex school year, I have children in every level of our 5-tiered educational system, including elementary, intermediate, junior high, high school, and college. I have lived the challenges of homeschooling, hybrid learning, synchronous and asynchronous instruction. I have successfully managed this mayhem, as well as addressing the physical and mental health needs of my family. I've also been instrumental in pulling off a successful Perrysburg recreational fall soccer season, completely following state and city guidelines for COVID mitigation. We had 0 canceled games and 0 transmissions. I have my ear to the ground with our community, youth, and health. In a year of bipartisanship, I am nonpartisan. I have no specific agenda other than to do my civic duty. I will use my educated experience to offer informed questions, provide understanding of many factors affecting decisions, including reserves, insurance, labor unions, state mandates, legislations. I do participate in regular training as one of Perrysburg's first responders. Although my jurisdiction is limited to our community's swimming pools, I can help anticipate challenges in police training, technology, and equipment advances, the opioid crisis, increased pressure on police and health workers due to increased challenges in mental health. Finally, I'm acquainted with need. In a year where many pocketbooks have been hit hard, I spend time in East Toledo offering assistance through Catholic Charities. I currently serve on the Perrysburg Christian United Executive Board. I have been instrumental in fundraising and helping them attain their most solvent state. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Warren.
Thank you so much, President Smith. Hi, this is Councilwoman Deborah Warren. Hello.
Hello.
Am I saying this correctly, Ms. Sawaya?
Sawaya.
Sawaya?
Correct.
Have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
I have read the city councilman portion of the charter. It's easily available on the website, all sections.
Thank you. And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
I believe that they are a public servant. They are charged to represent those they serve, and to provide gentle oversight in the allocation of city resources and also sound judgment.
Thank you. This is Councilman Coleman. We talked. I enjoyed our conversation the other night. And thank you for nerding out with me about your master's degree. It's very unique, and I appreciated that.
Thank you.
Ms. Materney.
This is Councilwoman Attorney. Do you know what committees you would be replacing Jim Chizak on?
I do. It is Chair of the Finance Committee, Personnel, and Safety. Well, those are the ones I understood, and I have read all of the agendas and minutes for the last 3 years on each of those.
Thank you very much.
And then, Ms. Webb, the question I asked is if you were selected, would you plan to run a Pulte seat?
I do not. I have given this a lot of thought, and I've decided that the age of my children, a 5-year commitment would not be the right fit for me right now. However, I'm very willing to serve for 1 year, and I'm also willing to, my interest in serving is genuine, and I'm willing to sit on committees or task forces as would be helpful. Thank you.
Mr. McCarthy or Mr. Van Nuisance? Sorry. I think we kind of got the idea what those questions are going to be down there. So.
Less is more. All right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Weber.
Hello, I'm Mark Weber. I could spend my entire 3 minutes telling you what it has meant to me to be part of this community for the past 60 years, but I'm sure you'd rather hear how I may contribute as a member of City Council. My time on council in 2019 proved very productive. It not only enhanced my desire to serve, it eliminated the need for any learning curve should I return. I could hit the ground running, so to speak. It was an honor to be part of some very important decisions during those 8 months. Anyone that knows me knows I do my homework. I take the time to thoroughly research all the issues, using all the resources available to me, including the people I'm surrounded by. I don't just talk, I listen and I learn. I consistently vote my conscience, take the common sense approach, while always placing the needs of the city above politics and self-interest. I'm extremely familiar with every issue currently being discussed by the committees, commissions, boards, and of course, City Council. That's evident by the fact that I haven't missed a single meeting held in these chambers in the last few years. I have complete confidence that I have what it takes to chair the Finance and Economic Development Committee. Besides already attending every meeting, I've studied the 2021 budget and am well prepared to review the upcoming amended budget, along with other expenditures and issues. On Personnel Committee, I'm certain I can be helpful in the search for a new city engineer and any other issues or policy changes. And of course, the return to Safety Committee would be seamless. I have proven that I can do this job. There's no doubt I'm very civic-minded. As chairman of the Historic Landmarks Commission, I'm dedicated to the preservation of the Perrysburg's rich history and our historic district. And on the other end, as a member of the Land Use Plan Steering Committee, I'm participating in exploring the best ways to encourage and manage growth in the coming years. As you all know, Perrysburg is comprised of a great mixture of citizens from all walks of life. We as a city are fortunate to have a council made up of men, women, professionals, business owners, and even a former ODOT employee. With my blue-collar background, I feel I can bring a helpful perspective to many of the issues that are brought before City Council. I've been asked, Mark, why get involved now? You're already 63 years old. The way I see it, I'm only 63 years old. Old enough to possess enough knowledge and experience that would be beneficial to my duties on council, yet young enough to offer and be open to fresh ideas that would help Perrysburg move forward in a positive way. If appointed, my service on council will be grounded in honesty, integrity, and the utmost respect for fellow council members, the administration, and certainly the citizens of Perrysburg. I am planning to run for a 4-year term in November. I see that as a testament to my commitment and dedication to serve. I hope you do as well. Thank you for your consideration.
Hello, Mr. Weber.
Hi.
Have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
I have. I've read it all the way through, and I referred back to it numerous times over the last few years.
And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
Well, I think a city council person, first and foremost, is a public servant to our citizens, and I think that they should act as a good help with any citizen that wants to interact with the city government, and then always also trying their best to improve the quality of life here in Perrysburg. But also, besides reviewing and voting on legislation, I think they, be a good steward of the taxpayers' money, overseeing what the administration's spending. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Councilman Coolman, I have nothing to add.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Attorney.
Nope.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Weber, I know you answered the question I was going to ask in your speech.
Yes, I am planning to run in November.
Thank you very much for putting your application in.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Miss Anastasia White.
Hello, my name is Anastasia LaCure-Willie, and I have been a resident of Perrysburg since 2014. Prior to that, I grew up in Perrysburg. I would ride my bike from what I believed at the time to be one end of Perrysburg to the next. Since then, Perrysburg has grown exponentially, and I think that growth is great, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to apply. My background is actually as a social worker. I have my master's in social work, so as a social worker, I have no vested interest in anything other than the welfare of people. And if appointed, that obviously would be the citizens of Perrysburg. I also have experience as an auditing manager. In my previous position, I actually built the department from ground up. The company I worked for did not have the department, and so I created it. So for the position that is currently open, I understand that it would be head of finance, so I believe that would give me a pretty well-rounded background to help chair that committee. In addition, I also was a hiring manager at a short period of time at that same company. So working with personnel, obviously social work, I am very social. I'm able to handle a lot of different types of people, and I have a focus in policy as well. And I'm also a mother of 4. My children have attended Perrysburg schools. I have them in junior high, elementary, and preschool, and then I have a young one. I also serve on the board of a nonprofit. I am the vice president, so we are responsible for controlling the budget and being fiscally responsible. In addition, I also serve on the Parent Safety Task Force, and I also have participated in the Perrysburg auditing team. If I were appointed, I would plan on running for the upcoming year, and I believe that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out and speaking. Councilwoman Warren.
Thank you so much, President Smith. Is it Wiley?
Willie.
Ms. Willie. Same questions I've been asking. Have you read the charter of the city of Perrysburg?
I did read it prior to my application as it pertains to the city council position.
Thank you. And what is your view of the role of a city council person?
I believe the role is to be a representative of the citizens as well as to promote the longevity of the city. We have a great history here, and I just want to continue it on for another 200 years.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Anastasia.
Hello.
It's Councilman Coolman speaking. You are, I think, one of the few that we played phone tag.
Yes.
So I will ask you one of the questions I asked everyone. Obviously we're thrilled to have 16 applicants. That says a lot about our city and the people in it. If you weren't chosen to fill that vacancy, would you be interested in getting involved on some level, whether it be committee, subcommittee?
Yes.
Okay. How's it?
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Attorney.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. McCarthy or Ms. Smith? Thank you so much. I know the question that I asked is if you're planning to run if you were selected.
Yes, if I were selected, I would run.
Thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for
you.
your application.
Thank you.
And I believe that is all the applicants that are here tonight. If there's anybody else that did show up, give a second. Down the hallway, see if I hear any feet. Not hearing anything. So with that, as she's checking, I would just like to say how difficult of a decision this is going to be tonight. I think every single one of these candidates have their own unique, exemplary qualifications that this is going to be extremely difficult. I wish we had 16 seats that we could fill and put everyone on. I think that each person here has unique experiences that they can bring, and they would do great for the city. I don't think anybody here is here for any personal reason. I think everyone's here for the benefit of the city and what they want to do to get back, and I really do truly appreciate putting your time in to put the application and being here tonight. I know it's not going to be necessarily over just quite yet this evening as we move into an executive session, but I did want to make sure that I thank everybody before we come back out for putting the time and the effort to especially take phone calls from me. I mean, or hear my kids screaming in the background as you're talking, and I'm talking with some of you, so I do apologize for that. But for whatever reason, whenever I'm on the phone, it's when the kids want to come up and ask me questions about, tell me that there's a new character on, I think Santiago of the Seas was one of them. But I do appreciate everyone taking the time to speak with all of us, and for those who did reach out, and we look forward to coming back out of the executive session and to see where things go. So with that, I'll take a motion to go into executive session to discuss the appointment of a council.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, just before
Yes.
we do the roll call, actually, we're going to leave. You guys are going to stay where you are. Again, I would just like to quickly echo what Jonathan said about thank you for your willingness to serve, your volunteering, and coming forward on behalf of the community. That's outstanding, and everyone who's been here has presented a very legitimate and appropriate case for being considered and being chosen. So I echo what council I know feels that this. We are overly thankful for such fine applicants.
I'm sure the mayor is not envious of this decision.
Your decision. For another 14 days or something.
So if we can do a roll call.
Okay, roll call. Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy. Yes. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're in executive session.
So Jonathan Smith will make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy. Yes. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Mayor, if you don't mind if I take over?
Yes, certainly.
I'm sure you don't mind passing the buck on this one.
You're done.
So before we go into the next step, I know each of us are going to say something before we go into a motion for nominations tonight. I will tell you that this is probably the most difficult decision that we make on council. Every single one of you, again, as I said before, is extremely qualified, and we really labored at the process and procedure and how we're going to move forward with this. And if we were all comfortable to move forward tonight. What I will say is as the nominations move forward, I would say that almost every name was said with favorable light this evening. And that if a name is nominated and someone does indeed vote no, it's not a no vote against the person, because I think every single one of us mentioned that we would be comfortable with every single person that put their name in to sit up here with us tonight. I know that there's some that have their favorites up here, and just because a no vote may be a holdout vote for that person who is their favorite candidate in hopes that they can try to get them through. So it's just nothing against anybody here tonight, so don't take them no vote personally, but it is going to be a very tough decision as we go through here. So with that, I will pass this on for anybody who would like to say anything up here, and Chairwoman Bourne, we'll start with you.
Thank you so much, President Smith. I appreciate it. I would like to thank all of the people who applied for this position. And I wish we all would have been able to appoint all of you. Seriously, I truly believe that very much. Thank you.
Councilman Coolman?
What else? 16 applicants. That is astonishing. It's a great response. I had a pleasure talking to, I think I talked to maybe 13 of the candidates out of the 16. I was equally impressed with all of you. The different backgrounds, the diversity of backgrounds. And I'll say a little bit about Jim Matuzak. He was someone that cared a lot about Perrysburg. It's going to be a big seat to fill. He is also someone I vehemently disagreed with about a lot of different things. But that stayed here. We were friends outside. I look forward to having disagreements with one of you in the near future. But thank you so much for taking the time. I've been through this process. I think when we were down there, we were talking. At least 3 of the people sitting in front of you making this decision tonight have been on the other side of this. So if you do get a no vote from one of us, it is seriously not so it's not personal at all. We're extremely happy to have had you apply for this position, and we'd be happy with any of you being up next to us. So,
Councilwoman Attorney.
Yes, I'd like to start out with an apology. I've forgotten that Jim Matuzak was one of the only few council members who served on 4 committees. The rest of us only have, except for 2 others, only served on 3. And they are the appointment review, which is one of the answers I looked for. Finance, economic development, personnel, and what am I going to say? Safety. So I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm so used to us only serving on 3. And I was very impressed with everybody. To everybody who answered the phone when I called, or called me back when I left the voicemail, thank you very much.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes, Tim McCarthy speaking. I'll echo what Jonathan said. We only agreed on 2 things downstairs. One is that this is the worst decision you have to make when you sit here. And this night was particularly difficult because the only reason we're up here is we couldn't make a decision. And I think I must have heard about everyone around the table say, there's 6, 7, 8 people I can vote for immediately. So it was hard, and I want to dovetail, I guess, with what Jonathan said, that the other thing we all agreed on is the process you're about to witness is a little bit like watching sausage get made. We're going to vote down names, and you can see people vote no on someone and come back later and vote yes because of this crazy system. I don't think it's any different than any other body. I don't know a better way to do it. But we'll do our best, and we'll see if we have someone selected tonight or not. We should, I guess, be very grateful that you live in a community where you have this many truly excellent people willing to throw their hat in the ring. That's a blessing, I guess, we all should be thankful for. So I'll join others in thanking all of you.
So sitting up here, and I know it's been said already a couple times how difficult this decision is, and it really is. And we've had some tough decisions going back to Costco and prosecutor and a few others. But for my relationship with some of you goes back years and years. And some of you are just outstanding, are really impressive people that I don't know. So I just can't emphasize enough that if the no comes, it has nothing to do with, it's hard to even rationalize saying no because all of you really are qualified. So the sequence of events up here are going to be awkward. Just know that we want you to continue to stay involved in the city of Perrysburg, become more involved, and don't let this, however it goes, discourage you or disappoint you, because we need you. And it's just me not being your night, but we don't know that yet. It's one thing we couldn't figure out downstairs, because we were making sausage. So with that, just thank you all for being interested in Perrysburg, being involved in Perrysburg, and let this, for some of you, just let it be the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. This is definitely going to be a very interesting process here and a very difficult one. One other thing, just to make mention as well, whoever does get the appointment will have to file within 15 days after they are sworn in with the Ohio Ethics Commission. So that's one thing to keep in mind as well. There is a process that you would have to go through in order to file that. That is just something personal. I don't think it affects anything for council or the city, but it is something you want to make sure that you are able to get done. With that, I will take a motion to open the floor for nominations.
I'm motioning to open the floor for nominations.
Second.
We have a roll call.
Okay, Ms. Warren.
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Ms. Materne.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy. Yes. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I will accept any motion from any council member at this time.
I make a motion to nominate Mark Weber.
My second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Okay, start with Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Ms. Materne.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy. No for this round. Mr. Smith.
You guys got to make this difficult already in the first one. Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
And Ms. Warren.
No.
We have 4 yes votes.
Oh, we have our nomination and accepted it, Mark Weber. So congratulations, Mr. Weber, and thank you so much for everybody who's put their names in. I will be honest, I was not expecting the first one to be the one to make it through, but it is a huge honor to have so many people put their names in. And thank you so much for taking your time out on a Monday evening to be here with us. And Mr. Weber, it looks like you have something you'd like to say.
It's an absolute huge honor, especially this field of, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing when I sat there and listened to all of you, and every one of you are worthy of this, and I really appreciate you, City Council, putting their trust in me and giving me this opportunity. It means an awful lot to me, and I will do the very best I can, and more importantly, I want the citizens of Perrysburg to know that I'm up here working for them. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Weber, and I look forward to seeing you up here.
Thank you. Mayor, there is a safety committee meeting tomorrow. I wouldn't mind getting right to work. Would you be able to swear me in tonight?
Yeah, if I knew the rules. We will get the form, and we can, if that's okay with council's preference. I mean,
To do it tonight?
Yeah.
Let me go look to see if I can find it.
I think it will be on camera tonight. But thank you for being up here and for working again.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's definitely a tough situation tonight. So I think every one of your names came up down there numerous times. And so thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Well, we can't adjourn if we're going to swear him in. Am I incorrect in that? Or is
Is that okay?
Yeah, I don't think you have to swear him in session.
I'm getting at our law director to see if this is
It
putting
would
you on.
be better if we just waited to adjourn till
No.
after we swear him in.
I know I kind of threw that at him, but I'm going to come to the safety committee meeting anyway, and I wouldn't mind being part of it.
Just want to know what chair it's in.
Yeah, that's right.
So one thing I definitely would encourage is every one of you, if you are not serving on a commission or a board, we want to get you on. We want to get you involved. We want to keep you here. It's just a huge testament to the qualifications for every one of you. Every one of you had something unique. I'm writing down different notes about each of you when I talked in the phone or when you came up here and talked again, just how diverse the community is and just how much value each of you bring. And we really want to see you continue to stay involved with the community in some form or fashion. We have multiple boards that have openings that come up on a regular basis. And unless you tell me otherwise, I'm going to be submitting your names to the mayor. So if you don't want it, you let me know now because I'm going to have the mayor look at your names over for all those openings if they come out.
And if I can, real quick.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Coleman wants to say something.
So just kind of to preface why I nominated Mr. Weber. If you don't know him, you should know him. He's a great gentleman. He does a lot of good for Perrysburg. You will find him at almost, I believe, every committee meeting, every council meeting. He did win the last appointment as well against myself. So that goes to me. I want to tell you, like I said, there are 3 people on this panel that were told no at one point. I believe that's Deborah, myself, and Jan Attorney. There's someone in the crowd that was told no at one point, and that's Becky Williams. And she's a former council person. So please do, stay involved. You took the first step. The next step is getting more involved on these commissions, keeping in contact. All of you now have my cell phone number. I meant it when I said use it. I'd love to speak with all of you. If you want to grab breakfast, hash out future plans, I'd love to meet with you. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and be here this evening.
And I personally hope everybody who said that, this is Jim Attorney, who said that they're going to run, please.
I would concur that, I would say that this is you're a great representation of our community, and I thank you very, very much literally from the bottom of my heart. And congratulations, Mr. Weber.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Mayor, if you want to come in.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you, everyone. One of these days, see the way everyone we'll have to come back into the office tomorrow to sign the necessary paperwork. We weren't quite sure how long we were going to be here today. But raise your right hand. I, Mark A. Weber.
I, Mark A. Weber.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend.
That I will support and defend.
The Constitution of the United States of America.
Constitution of the United States of America.
And the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
And the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
And the Charter of the City of Perrysburg, Wood County, Ohio.
And the Charter of the City of Perrysburg, Wood County, Ohio.
And I will faithfully discharge the duties of a member of council.
And I will faithfully discharge the duties as a member of council.
Of the City of Perrysburg, Wood County, Ohio.
Of the City of Perrysburg, Wood County, Ohio.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.